Uh, Howdy. I'm sorry. um, a lot of you don't know me, but my name is Amy Moon, shepherd of Tamu 3 House Church and co-shep with Keith Kim. I found Christ when I was 13 years old. And although I grew up in a Christian household, my parents always taught me to know that my faith is mine and not theirs. And the reason why I start here is because from that night at my old church's youth retreat, when I committed my life to God, I learned that when you walk with Christ, you could see all the beauty and the works God is doing in your life, but also experience what it means to always be in mission with Him and find that living apart from the world, you experience rejection, hardships, and judgment, all things that Jesus has been through. Growing up, I was very afraid to share my faith, even though I was called to, and I'm sure growing up, my earthly friends didn't think I was Christian. I never practiced my faith until high school, really. And until I was placed in leadership positions. I moved away from my hometown into a place I found very uncomfortable, misplaced, and lonely. The one place I found such comfort was my small church. I was living a two-faced life, and that soon became very tiresome. Even though life was very hard, one thing I found joy was talking about God and using all that I learned from personal devotions or sermons into my actions with my golf teammates and coach as we come back from long distance tournaments, or the little time I get to serve my friends from school and even childhood friends that I felt embarrassed to speak about my faith to. I started to live a life knowing my identity in Christ. Coming to college, I was very burnt out and wanted to just find a community where I get to experience what it feels like to just get served rather than me being one to serve. I started to become desperate, and in my despair, I met my soon-to-be shepherd, Teresa Cho. She was showing me her Kim Jong-un drawings to me, and I diagnosed her with ADHD, and it was just true friendship from there. Just kidding, but I mean, all these things are true, and it was truly our first encounter, but she invited me to my first house church, and at this time, it was one of the last house churches of the semester. I came into it with no expectations and came out with a family. Tamu House Church 1 at the time was still growing, and even though I wanted to rest and just be a regular member, almost painting that picture for myself, God said, nah, and had other plans for me. During my internship phase, I was experiencing sickness, anxiety, and a lot of doubt that made me question if I was capable of leading a house church in a way that will be pleasing to the Lord, almost as if I was limiting God's great power and plans for me and future Tamu house churches. But because of my shepherds and their constant prayers and all the guidance from Lauren, I was able to carry out one of the many plans God has for me. I wanted to thank Teresa Cho and Harris Kwan for leading me and my overthinking self, and to deny myself and carry the cross. I wouldn't be here where I am now if it wasn't for you guys. And I wanted to thank my family and friends for just supporting me in my decisions, because I really wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my family. And to my leaders, Justy, P. Singh, Lauren, and Jason, I thank you for always being there for me and praying over our house churches and being the role models we long to seek and believing in God's plan for Tamu's house churches and really making this work. And lastly, to my house church, I know it's only been a couple of weeks, but I'm so happy to be your shepherd and be able to serve y'all tirelessly. Thank you for being patient with me and Keith as we're getting used to our roles. I love you guys so much. And thank you to Keith for being an awesome co-shepherd to me. I can't wait for the wonderful things God has for our house church. And now being an official shepherd of New Life, I commit to upholding the shepherd's covenant and always show sacrificial love to my members no matter the obstacle. Thank you so much.